weekdays?
I usually go to a restaurant for breakfast on weekday. Don't usually go home.
Where do you often spend your lunch break?
Often, yeah, I often spend my lunch break at school, but I don't often spend my lunch break at home.
Where do you usually go for breakfast on weekdays?
I usually go to a restaurant for breakfast on weekday, but I don't usually uh, go home for breakfast on weekday.
Where do you often spend your lunch break?
I often spend my lunch break at school, but I don't often spend my lunch break at home.
Where do you usually go after finishing work?
I usually go go home after finishing work. I don't usually uh, go to school after finishing work.
Where do you usually buy vegetables and fruits?
I usually buy vegetable and fruit at the supermarket. I don't usually buy vegetable and fruit at the market.
Where do you often go to relax in the evening?
I often go to relax uh, at the cinema in the evening, but I don't often go to relax at home in the evening.
Where do you usually go with your friends on Saturday?
I usually go to the park with my friends on Saturday, but I don't usually uh, go to the zoo with my friends on Saturday.
Where do you usually walk when you have free time?
I usually walk uh, around work when I have free time, but I don't usually walk at school when I have free time.
Where do you often go to meet your classmates?
I often go to my classmate house to meet my classmate, but I don't often go to the playground to meet my classmates.
Where do you usually go to read books?
I usually go to the library to read book, but I don't usually go to the bookstore to read book.
Where do you usually buy gifts for your friends?
Usually buy gift store to my friend, but I don't usually buy gift at the bookstore to my friend.
Where do you often go to take a walk in the morning?
I often go to the park to take a walk in the morning, but I don't often go to the lake to take a park in the morning.
Where do you usually go to practice sports?
I usually go to the soccer field to practice sport, but I don't usually go to the playground to practice sport.
Where do you often go on your holidays?
Often go to the beach on my holiday. I don't often go to the zoo on my holiday.
Where do you usually go when you feel stressed?
I usually go to the cinema when I feel stressed. I don't usually go to the zoo when I feel stressed.
Where do you often meet your neighbors?
Often meet, meet my neighbor at my house, but I don't often meet my neighbor at the neighborhood house.
Where do you usually go to buy clothes for school?
I usually go to the clothes up to buy clothes to school. I don't usually go to the uh, bookshop to buy clothes to school.
Where do you often eat when you are at work?
I often eat bread when I am at work, but I don't often eat chicken when I am at work.
Where do you usually go to take photos?
I usually go to the beach to take photos, but I don't really go to the park to take photos.
Where do you usually go to drink coffee with friends?
I usually go to the coffee to drink coffee with friends, but I don't usually go to the uh, uh, restaurant to drink coffee with friends.
Where do you often go for jogging?
Often go to the park for jogging, but I don't often go to the cinema to jog.
Where do you usually go to listen to music?
I usually go to a concert to listen to music. I don't usually go home to listen to music.
Where do you often go to learn something new?
I often to school to learn something new, but I don't often uh, uh, go to the park to learn something new.
Where do you usually go when you feel happy?
I usually go to a shopping when I feel happy, but I don't usually go to the school, go to the school when I feel happy.
Where do you often spend your evenings with family?
I often spend my evening at dinner with my family, but I don't often spend my evening at the restaurant with my family.
Where do you usually go on Sunday mornings?
I usually go to the park on Sunday morning, but I don't usually go to the zoo on Sunday morning.
Where do you often meet new people?
I often meet new people at school, but I don't often meet new people at home.
Where do you usually go to have a picnic?
I usually, uh, I usually go to the countryside to have a picnic, but I don't usually go home to have a picnic.
Where do you often go to relax on weekends?
I often go to the cinema to relax on weekend, but I don't often go to the like to relax on weekend.
Where do you usually go to buy stationery?
I usually go to the bookstore to buy stationery, but I don't usually go to the library to buy stationery.
Where do you usually go when it rains?
I usually go home when it rains, but I don't usually go outside when it rains.
Where do you often go to learn a new skill?
Often go to school to learn new skill, but I don't often go to the cinema to learn new skill.
Where do you usually go when you are bored?
Go to a zoo when I'm bored. I don't usually go home when I'm bored.
Where do you often go for shopping in the city?
I often go to a shopping mall to go shopping in the city, but I don't often go to the I like to go shopping in the city.
Where do you usually go to meet your teacher?
Usually go to school to meet teacher, but I don't usually go to go home to meet the teacher. Meet my teacher.
Sunset. Sunset.
Sunset. Sunset.
Where do you usually go to enjoy the sunset?
I usually go to the beach to enjoy sunset, but I don't usually go to the mountain to enjoy sunset.
Where do you often go with your friends at night?
Often go to a restaurant with my friends at night, but I don't often go to school with my friends at night.
Where do you usually go to exercise in the morning?
I usually go to the park to exercise in the morning, but I don't usually go to the go home to exercise in the morning.
Where do you often go to eat when you are hungry?
Often go to the restaurant to eat when I'm hungry. I don't often go to a coffee to eat when I'm hungry.
Where do you usually go to read newspapers?
I usually go to the library to read newspaper. I don't usually go to the bookstore to read newspaper.
Where do you often go to meet your classmates?
Mm. I often go to my classmate house to meet my classmate. I don't often go home to meet my classmate.
Where do you usually go to watch sports?
I usually go to the soccer field to watch sport. I don't usually go to the uh, don't usually go to the countryside to watch sport.
Where do you often go to meet new friends?
I often go to school to meet new friends. I don't often go to the mountain to meet new friends.
Where do you usually go to practice music?
I usually go to the music club to practice music, but I don't usually go to uh, the concert to practice music.
Where do you often go to eat dessert?
I often go to the coffee to eat dessert, but I don't often go to the mm, park to eat dessert.
Where do you usually go when you want to relax?
I usually go to the cinema when I want to relax. I don't usually go to the shop when I want to relax.
Where do you often go to take photos with friends?
I often go to take photos with friends at the beach, but I don't often go to the mountain to take photos with friends.
Where do you usually go on rainy days?
I usually uh, go to go home on rainy day, but I don't really go to the lake on rainy day.
Where do you often go to read magazines? Where do you usually go to buy fruits?
I usually go to the market to buy food. I don't usually go to the cinema to buy food.
Where do you often go to watch movies with friends?
Often go to the cinema to watch movie with friends. I don't often go to my friend's house to watch movie with friends.
Where do you usually go for jogging in the evening?
I usually go to the lake to jogging in the evening. I don't usually go to the park to jogging in the evening.
Where do you often go to buy school supplies?
Often go to the bookstore to buy school supplies. I don't often go to the library to buy school supply.
Where do you usually go to spend time alone?
I usually go home to spend time alone. I don't usually go to the park to spend time alone.
Where do you often go on public holidays?
I usually go usually go to the zoo on public holiday. I don't usually go to a cinema on public holiday.
Where do you usually go with your family on weekends?
I usually go to the usually go to the cinema with my family on weekend. I don't usually go home with my family on weekend.
Where do you often go to eat fast food?
I often I often go to the McDonald's to eat fast food, but I don't usually go to the restaurant to eat fast food.
Where do you usually go when you feel tired?
I usually go to the river when I feel tired. I don't usually go to the I go home every time.
Where do you often go to buy souvenirs?
And go to a souvenir shop to buy souvenir. I don't often go to the bookstore to buy souvenir.
Where do you usually go on your birthday?
Usually go home on my birthday. And I don't usually go to school on my birthday.
Where do you often go to spend your evenings with friends?
I usually go to the playground to spend evening with friends, but I don't really go to the zoo to spend evening with friends.
Where do you usually go to watch plays or concerts?
I go I usually go to the I usually go to the concert to the watch concert. But I don't usually go to the museum
Where do you
to
often go to
watch
buy fresh
the
vegetables?
I usually go to the supermarket to buy the fresh vegetable, but I don't usually go to the, the market to buy fresh vegetable.
Where do you usually go to relax after a long day?
I usually go to relax. Uh, the cinema uh, after a long day. But I don't really go to relax at the zoo uh, after a long day.
Where do you often go to meet your classmates after school?
I often go to my classmate how to meet my classmate. I don't often go home to meet my classmate after school.
Where do you usually go to enjoy nature?
I go to the mountain to enjoy nature. I don't really go to the cinema to enjoy nature.
Where do you often go to have breakfast with friends?
I really go to the restaurant to have breakfast with friends. I don't really go to the uh, McDonald's to have breakfast with friends.
Where do you usually go to buy shoes?
I really go to the shoe shop to buy shoes. I don't really go to the books shop to buy shoes.
Where do you often go to spend free time on weekends?
Often go to the park to spend free time on weekend. I don't often go to the zoo to spend free time on weekend.
Where do you usually go to learn a new hobby?
Usually go to the sport club to learn a new hobby. But I don't usually go to the music club to learn a new hobby.
Where do you often go to enjoy music?
Go to the concert to enjoy music. I don't often go to the cinema to enjoy music.
Where do you usually go on Monday mornings?
Usually go to school on Monday morning. I don't usually go to the shopping on Monday morning.
Where do you often go to drink tea in the afternoon?
Often go home to drink tea in the afternoon. I don't often go to the coffee to drink tea in the afternoon.
Where do you usually go to watch football matches?
I often go to a soccer field to watch football match. I don't often go to uh, the cinema to watch football match.
Where do you often go to have a picnic with friends?
I often go to a countryside to have picnic with friends. I don't often go to the market to have picnic with friends.
Where do you usually go to meet your relatives?
I usually go to school to meet brothers, but I don't usually go. But I don't usually go home to meet brothers.
Where do you often go to read novels?
I often go to the uh, library to read novel. I don't usually go to the cinema to read novel.
Where do you usually go on Saturday afternoons?
I usually go to the shopping on Saturday afternoon. I don't often go to the school on Saturday afternoon.
Where do you often go to spend time outdoors?
I often go to the soccer field to spend time outdoors. I don't often go to the playground to spend time outdoors.
Where do you usually go when it is sunny?
I usually uh, go to the lake when it's sun, but I don't usually go home when it's sun.
Where do you often go to celebrate special occasions?
I usually uh, go to the party to celebrate a special occasion. I don't usually go to the park to celebrate a special occasion.
Where do you usually go to watch birds?
Usually go to the countryside to watch birds. I don't usually go to the city to watch birds.
Where do you often go to have fun with family?
I usually mm, go to the cinema to have fun with family. I no, don't usually go to the river to have fun with my family.
Where do you usually go to meet friends after classes?
I usually go to the I usually go to the I usually go to my friend's house to meet my friend after classes. I don't usually go go home to meet my friends after classes.
Where do you often go to buy books online?
I often uh, go to Shopee to buy books online. I don't usually
Where do you usually
go.
go to have lunch with colleagues?
I usually go to school to have lunch with college. I don't usually go home to have lunch with college.
Where do you often go to see the sunrise?
I often go to the beach to see. I often go to the mountain to see sunrise. I don't often go to the beach to see sunrise.
Where do you usually go to spend time with pets?
I usually go to a park to spend time with pets, but I don't usually go to the zoo to spend time with pets.
Where do you often go to take part in competitions?
Often go to the uh, school to take part in the competition, but I don't often go home to take part in competition.
Where do you usually go to buy daily necessities?
I usually go to the market to buy daily necessities, but I don't usually go to the uh, toy store to buy daily necessities.
Where do you often go to enjoy the evening breeze?
Often go to the uh, cinema to enjoy evening breeze. I don't often go to the lake to enjoy evening breeze.
Where do you usually go on your anniversary?
I usually go to the party on my anniversary. I don't usually go to the park on my anniversary.
Where do you often go to join cultural events?
I usually go to the uh, to the to park to enjoy cultural event. I don't usually go home to enjoy cultural event.
Where do you usually go when you need inspiration?
I usually go to the I usually go to the like when I need inspiration. I don't really go to the cinema when I need
Where do you often go to buy
inspiration.
souvenirs for friends?
I often go to the souvenir shop to buy souvenir to my friends. I don't often go to the zoo to buy souvenir to my friends.
Where do you usually go to watch live music?
I usually go to the I usually mm, go to the concert to watch live music. I don't really go to the museum to watch live
Where do you
music.
often go to spend time in nature?
I often go to the beach to spend time in nature. I don't often go to the cinema to spend time in nature.
Where do you usually go to practice yoga?
I usually go to the I usually go to the yoga club to practice yoga. I don't really go to the sport club to practice yoga.
Where do you often go with your friends during holidays?
Often go to the cinema with my friends during holiday. No, I don't often uh, go to a river with my friends during holiday.
Where do you usually go to take a rest in the afternoon?
Usually go home to take a rest in the afternoon. I don't really go to the school to take a rest in the afternoon.
Where do you often go to enjoy outdoor activities?
Often go to the uh, football and soccer field to enjoy outdoor activity. But I don't often go to the playground to enjoy outdoor activity.
Where do you usually go for breakfast on weekdays?
I usually uh, go to the restaurant for breakfast on weekday. I don't usually go to the McDonald's to have breakfast on weekdays.
Where do you often spend your lunch break?
I often spend my lunch break uh, at the school, but don't often spend my lunch break to the cinema.
Where do you usually go after finishing work?
Usually go to the I usually go home after finishing work. I don't usually go to the cinema after finishing work.
Where do you usually buy vegetables and fruits?
I usually buy vegetable and fruit at the market. I don't usually buy vegetable and soup at, at the toy store.
Where do you often go to relax in the evening?
I often go to relax at home in the evening, but I don't often go to relax at the at the park in the evening.
Where do you usually go with your friends on Saturday?
I usually go to the zoo with my friends on Saturday, but I don't usually go to the park with my friends on Saturday.
Where do you usually walk when you have free time?
I usually walk around the lake when I have free time, but I don't usually walk to the zoo when I have free time.
Where do you often go to meet your classmates?
Often go to meet my classmate at my classmate house. I often go to meet my classmate at my house.
Where do you usually go to read books?
I usually go to the library to read book. I don't usually go to the bookstore to read book.
Where do you usually buy gifts for your friends?
I usually buy gift for my friends at the gift store. I don't usually buy gift for my friends at the cinema.
Where do you often go to take a walk in the morning?
I often go to take a walk uh, at the park in the morning. I don't often go to take a walk uh, at the lake in the morning.
Where do you usually go to practice sports?
I can go to a soccer field to practice sport, but I don't usually go to the um, go to the mountain to practice sport.
Where do you often go on your holidays?
I often go to the beach on my holiday. I don't often go to the zoo on my holiday.
Where do you usually go when you feel stressed?
I usually go to the cinema when I feel stressed, but I don't usually go to the park when I feel stressed.
Where do you often meet your neighbors?
I often meet my neighbor at my house. I don't often meet my neighbor at the neighborhood house.
Where do you usually go to buy clothes for school?
I usually go to the clothes shop to buy clothes for school. I don't usually go to the big shop to buy clothes for school.
Where do you often eat when you are at work?
I often eat bread when I'm at work. I don't usually eat fish when I'm at work.
Where do you usually go to take photos?
I usually go to the mountain to take photo. I don't usually go to the park to take photo.
Where do you usually go to drink coffee with friends?
Coffee to drink coffee with friends. I don't usually go to the I go to the restaurant to drink coffee with friends.
Where do you often go for jogging?
I often go to the lake for jogging. I don't often go to the zoo for jogging.
Where do you usually go to listen to music?
I go to a concert to listen to music. I don't really go to the shopping to listen to music.
Where do you often go to learn something new?
I often go to the cinema to learn something new. I don't often go to the park to learn something new.
Where do you usually go when you feel happy?
I usually go to the shopping mall when I feel happy. I don't usually go to the cinema when I feel happy.
Where do you often spend your evenings with family?
I usually spend my evening at dinner with my family. I don't usually spend my evening at the zoo with my family.
Where do you usually go on Sunday mornings?
I usually go to the soccer field on Sunday morning. I don't usually go to the park on Sunday morning.
Where do you often meet new people?
I often meet new people at school. I don't often uh, meet new people at home.
Where do you usually go to have a picnic?
Usually go to the countryside to have picnic. But I don't
Where
usually
do you often go to
go to
relax on
the
weekends?
usually go relax at the cinema on weekend. I don't usually go relax at the school at school on weekend.
Where do you usually go to buy stationery?
I usually go to I usually go to the bookstore to buy stationery. I don't usually go to the shopping to buy stationery.
Where do you usually go when it rains?
I usually go to the park. I usually go to the cinema when it rains. I don't usually go to the school when it rains.
Where do you often go to learn a new skill?
I often go to the school to learn new skill. I then often go to the park to learn a new skill.
Where do you usually go when you are bored?
I usually go to the cinema when I'm bored. I don't usually go home when I'm bored.
Where do you often go for shopping in the city?
I often go shopping uh, in in uh, Fincher City. I don't usually go shopping at countryside.
Where do you usually go to meet your teacher?
I usually go to school to meet teacher. I don't usually go to the cinema to meet my teacher.
Sunset. Sunset.
Sunset. Sunset.
Where do you usually go to enjoy the sunset?
I usually go to the beach to enjoy sunset. I don't usually go to the uh, mountain to enjoy sunset.
Where do you often go with your friends at night?
I often go to the I often go to my friend's house with my friends at night. I don't often go to the zoo with my friends at night.
Where do you usually go to exercise in the morning?
I usually go to the park to exercise in the morning. I don't usually go to the zoo to exercise in the morning.
Where do you often go to eat when you are hungry?
I often go to the uh, restaurant to eat when I'm hungry. I don't often go to the cinema to eat when I'm hungry.
Where do you usually go to read newspapers?
I usually go to the library to read newspaper. But I don't usually go to the bookstore to read newspaper.
Where do you often go to meet your classmates?
I often go to meet my classmate at my classmate house. I don't often go to meet my classmate at my house.
Where do you usually go to watch sports?
I usually go to the soccer field to watch sport. I don't usually go to the cinema to watch sport.
Where do you often go to meet new friends?
I often go to meet new friends uh, uh, at the school, but I don't often go to meet new friends at the park.
Where do you usually go to practice music?
I usually go to the zoo to practice music. But I usually go to the music club to practice music. But I don't often go to the cinema to practice music.
Where do you often go to eat dessert?
I often go to eat dessert at uh, at coffee. but I don't often go to eat at a restaurant.
Where do you usually go when you want to relax?
I usually go to the cinema when I want to relax. But I don't usually go to the zoo when I want to relax.
Where do you often go to take photos with friends?
I often go to the uh, park to take photo with friends, but I don't often go to the zoo to take photo with friends.
Where do you usually go on rainy days?
I usually go to school on rainy day. I don't usually go to the park on rainy days.
Where do you often go to read magazines?
I often go to the library to read magazine. But I don't often go to the zoo to read magazine.
Where do you usually go to buy fruits?
I usually go to the market to buy food, but I don't usually go to the cinema to buy food.
Where do you often go to watch movies with friends?
I often go to the cinema to watch movie with friends, but I don't often go to my friends' house to watch movie with friends.
Where do you usually go for jogging in the evening?
I usually go to the park for jogging in the evening, but I don't usually go to the zoo for jogging in the evening.
Where do you often go to buy school supplies?
Often go to the bookstore to buy school supply.
Where do you usually go to spend time alone?
I usually go home to spend time alone. I don't usually go to the park to spend time alone.
Where do you often go on public holidays?
I often go to the park on public holiday. I don't often go to the zoo on public holiday.
Where do you usually go with your family on weekends?
I usually go with family uh, at the cinema on weekend. I don't usually go with family at school on weekend.
Where do you often go to eat fast food?
I often go to eat fast food uh, at the McDonald's. I don't often go to eat fast food at a restaurant.
Where do you usually go when you feel tired?
Usually go to the park when I feel tired. I don't usually go to the concert when I feel tired.
Where do you often go to buy souvenirs?
I often go to buy souvenir at a souvenir shop. I don't often go to buy souvenir at the bookstore.
Where do you usually go on your birthday?
I usually go uh, go go home on my birthday. I don't usually go to school on my birthday.
Where do you often go to spend your evenings with friends?
I often go to the zoo to spend evening with friends. But I don't often go to the park to spend evening with friends.
Where do you usually go to watch plays or concerts?
I usually go to the concert to watch place of concert. I don't usually go to the, uh, the cinema to watch just a concert.
Where do you often go to buy fresh vegetables?
I often go to buy fresh vegetable at the market, but I don't often to buy fresh vegetable at the zoo.
Where do you usually go to relax after a long day?
I often go to relax at the cinema after a long day.
Where do you often go to meet your classmates after school?
Often with classmate at my classmate house after school. But I don't often meet my classmate at, at my house after school.
Where do you usually go to enjoy nature?
I used to beach to enjoy nature. I don't usually go to the cinema to enjoy nature.
Where do you often go to have breakfast with friends?
Often go to have breakfast with friends at the restaurant. I don't often have breakfast with friends at the zoo.
Where do you usually go to buy shoes?
I usually go to buy shoe at the shoe shop. I don't usually go to buy shoe at the toy shop.
Where do you often go to spend free time on weekends?
Often to spend free time at the cinema on weekend.
Where do you usually go to learn a new hobby?
I usually go to I usually go to the cinema to learn a new hobby. I don't usually go to the soccer field to learn a new hobby.
Where do you often go to enjoy music?
I often go to the concert to enjoy music. I don't often go to the cinema to enjoy music. I
Where do you usually go on Monday mornings?
usually go to the soccer field on Monday morning. I don't usually go to the park on Monday morning.
Where do you often go to drink tea in the afternoon?
Often I to drink tea at home in the afternoon. I don't often go to drink tea at school in the afternoon.
Where do you usually go to watch football matches?
I usually go to the soccer field to watch football matches. I don't usually go to the cinema to watch football matches.
Where do you often go to have a picnic with friends?
I often go to have picnic with friends at the countryside. I don't often go to have picnic with friends at the city.
Where do you usually go to meet your relatives?
Often go to the park to meet my relatives. I don't often go to the zoo to meet my relatives.
Where do you often go to read novels?
Often go to the library to read novels. I don't often go to the bookstore to read novels.